Tuesday and Thursday, and you can read them at stltoday.com. Good morning, Tony Messenger.
Good morning, McGraw. Good morning, Kelly. How's everybody
doing?
We're good. So your column on Josh Hawley, kind of interesting in that a judge, fill us in on this, a judge is telling Josh Hawley to do his job. What's going on here?
Yeah, yesterday a federal judge issued sanctions against the Attorney General, which is a relatively, lawyers tell me, a relatively rare thing to happen in lawsuits. Basically, the Attorney General's office is not properly responding to discovery requests, sharing documents with the other side that they need to. This is a federal lawsuit that involves a gentleman in St. Louis who is suing the police department for aggravated assault and that sort of thing, in what they're alleging is a false arrest. And it was during the time in which the St. Louis Police Department in 2012 was under state control. So that's why the AG is handling it. And the attorneys for the young man are filing the kinds of requests that you see in these kinds of lawsuits. They're seeking police documents and records and all of those sorts of things so that they can prepare for the lawsuit and make their arguments. And the AG is just being very slow to give things over, and in some cases saying, we found everything, and then a few days later, we found some more. And the lawyers keep filing. In this case, it's Arch City Defenders. They're filing motions saying, look, Judge, these guys aren't playing by the rules. And the judge agreed, fined the Attorney General $500. And what my column found is that this is becoming a recurring problem under the new Attorney General. Remember, he's never had elected office before. He was a law professor who hasn't practiced a lot of in-courtroom law, and he's struggling to run the office. Being the Attorney General, various attorneys general and other attorneys have told me over the years, is like running a large law office. It's like running Lathrop Gage or Hush or Brian Cave. It's a big, difficult job. And there are now multiple cases throughout the state. My column points to another one in Cole County, in which a judge has threatened sanctions against the Attorney General's office. It points to a Sunshine Law case being prosecuted by an attorney in Kansas City, in which the Attorney General won't even the attorney that works for the Attorney General isn't returning phone calls and emails and just can't get information. And so these attorneys are all filing motions with judges saying, Judge, you got to hold them responsible. The law says we have rights to these documents, and the Attorney General's office is just not meeting their deadlines and not being able to get us what we need. And it's a big problem for a guy who's running for a new job, U.S. Senate, before he figured out how to do his first job.
How much of this is him slow walking this, and how much of this is him getting a new office, a new party, changing things over, and just in the transition? He's been in the job, barely a year now. How much of this is just sort of, moving in and making sure everything's set up right?
Well, the argument that the Attorney General's office gave me when I asked them about it is they didn't like the culture of the former Attorney General's office, and so they sought to make a lot of changes. A couple of problems with that argument. I wasn't aware of, and attorneys that I've talked to weren't aware of, the previous Attorney General's office facing sanctions, meaning they were doing their job. And number two, it has been over a year, and what's happened in a couple of these cases that I referenced is the Attorney General's having a hard time keeping people on cases. One case has gone through 4 different lawyers. Another case, one of the Attorney General's own lawyers that he brought in to be the head of litigation filed a motion in which he said, yeah, Judge, sorry, we're having a hard time. We're understaffed. We haven't figured this out yet. And that lawyer who wrote that motion, who was the head of litigation, is no longer with the Attorney General's office. And so these are problems, according to the court documents, of the Attorney General's making. And, maybe he hasn't made some good hires. Maybe he hasn't hired enough attorneys. Maybe he got rid of too many people that were experienced because he didn't think they were the political philosophy he wanted to have in his office. I'm not exactly sure how we got to this point, but it's clear from the court records that it's a problem, and it's clear from the lawyers that I've talked to that are used to dealing with the AG's office for a variety of different reasons that this is unusual.
Tony Mester, we'll leave it there. St. Louis Post-Dispatch columnist and with us every Tuesday and Thursday. Thanks, Tony.